You know, for years, I've used my art to manifest things that I didn't know I wanted, um, things I didn't know how to get. Um, a lot of times, things that I didn't even have words for. I uh, I realized that one of those things was peace. And I spent decades manifesting peace with my art at a time when life was just a jumbled up mess, traumatic stuff over and over. So lately I've been feeling kind of lost and I don't know what we're doing. Everything seems so confusing out there. I just want to hide away. And so I've been hiding out in the studio, and I wanted to share these pieces with you because they surprise me. I started with some canvases that I had things on that I didn't like, and so I began, what's the word, painting it out, you know, kind of covering up where I've been, like I don't like that anymore, I'm going to cover it up. And that as soon as that really quickly led into some really gorgeous textures. And at the time I was doing that, I was also writing. I was writing a grant proposal, and I was remembering how I had visited a cave painting when I was a teenager, and how that feeling of standing there in the footprint where a prehistoric artist had stood, and imagining myself as that artist of what it must have been like, or maybe I was that artist. I don't know, maybe you were that artist. It doesn't really matter, but there's that grittiness that has stayed with me throughout my painting career. I've been painting for 5 decades, 6 decades. It's, you know, you can't, I don't know why the grittiness is there. And suddenly, as I was working on these, the grittiness started to show back up. I found myself mixing pumice in with my acrylic paint, and it was almost like molten sand, and I would put it on here with a palette knife. And as I developed layers and layers of fiber and linen, and then while it was wet, I was drawing back into it with willow charcoal. So very intuitive, almost dreamlike, but the grittiness stays there. And I kind of got away from them for a few days. And when I came back, I just had this feeling of wanting to flow water across it, like really thin paint. So yesterday afternoon, maybe 2 afternoons ago, no, yesterday, sorry, I mixed up a little bit of pigment in water and I let it flow across the thing. And I literally was sitting there watching paint dry, and you know, I kind of caught myself and thought, "Oh my God, you're really losing it now." But this morning I came out, and there's still, you can see on here how there's still a little puddle, and as it's drying, it's translucent because there's only a little bit of pigment in the water suspension. And this is green and yellow and blue mixed together. And what's underneath it is yellow ochre and gold. And as the water evaporates, it's leaving the pigment down in the recesses of the grit and letting the raised areas emerge. And so as it dries, these golden areas are emerging from the detail. And now there's all this gorgeous texture and almost looks metallic. Well, and some of it is metallic because I'm using some copper and bronzy sort of pigments in here, and some of those are flowing on it. It's just, oh gosh, part of this up close here is some purple pigments, but because it's so thin and it goes down into the crevices with the willow charcoal, it turns very dark, but it still has that purpley overcast to it. It just is the most amazing thing. And then it hit me. And then after all this time, it hit me that the ancient cave paintings and the contemporary cave paintings, there's a new earth emerging. And it's about a divine feminine goddess that's coming. What's the word? She's rising within us, and we feel her coming, but we don't have words for her. And because it's, well, I don't know if there's a because attached to it at all, but it's so ethereal and so new. We really need more and more, we need the groundedness of Mother Earth. We need to be in the garden, and we need to walk in the soil, and we need this grittiness to be tangible, to hold on to comfort us, and to allow us to reach through the veil and feel that effervescence coming through. More and more I sense these earth pigments and the metallics and that ethereal quality where the physical dissolves into the spiritual, and that you get this little afterglow. And that's what's coming out in these paintings. So I invite you to come and see them up close. Visit my studio, find the link and schedule a visit, and I will give you a private tour.